Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me on a Give and Go podcast on a very cold Wednesday night. Not a lot of basketball going on in a short conference, so we decided to schedule a special interview with senior Skylar Soltis from Southern Regional. Skylar, thank you for joining me today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Tonight. First, let's start. Southern's out to 9-3 record. A very good start. How, in your opinion, how do you think you're playing? And then just talk about how you think the team's playing.
I think this is probably my best year back since, last year and this year. It's my second year back, kind of. But I'm definitely playing really well recently. And the team altogether, we have a really good, communication and everything's there. And we're just working together, passing the ball and getting those points to win.
Now, talk about Coach Sweeney. Was last year he kind of had the intern tag as the head coach, and this year, they gave him the job. How has he, positively affected the program? Because Southern, think short conference basketball, Southern doesn't come up, but you girls are making a name for yourself this season.
Yeah, Sweeney is a good coach. He came from the boys team. He was an assistant coach over there. So he has some knowledge. He knows what kind of plays. We actually stole a few plays from the boys, but they work, so that's all that matters. He's good at instant decisions. Like when we're in the game, he could write up a play, and we're really good with working with what he writes up. Just that basketball IQ is there on the team, so it really helps.
And I saw you girls play against Barnegat last week, and what really stood out to me was the energy level on the bench.
Our bench is awesome, yes.
The girls, some of them are probably not getting in the game, but they, from the opening whistle to the end whistle, they are chanting. How does that, make you play better on the court? And is that something that coach is, part of what coach is, what he wants out of his team?
Yeah, definitely. At the beginning of the season, Sweeney said, at the beginning, our practices need to be energy, or the games, we have to have energy. No matter if we're playing or not, we don't have the best. After our 5, we don't really have the best players, but they are so supportive of us, and they're there no matter what. And when they do get time in, we try to get the same energy on the bench that they have when we're in.
That's good, and I see that, I see that all over when if there's a blowout, the starters come out, at other schools, and if they see a bench player that might only play 5 minutes all season, and if they score that basket,
we get super hyped.
It's fun to see the stars get really excited seeing that happen.
Yeah, even against Lacey, 2 of our seniors went in, Emmy and Emily, and they both scored baskets. And Emmy actually had an N1 on a shot. It was crazy. We went wild.
That's great, and that that comes down from the coach setting that culture. Yeah. That was the word. That was the word I was looking for before, culture. So. All right, I'm going to pull up the outline, but let's start. All right, let's go back to, you're a little kid. How old were you when you first picked up and started playing basketball?
So I have an older brother that's 5 years older than me. So he started playing when he was about 8. So I was 3 years old outside dribbling a basketball with him. But I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to be like him. I looked up to him. So it was just me looking up to him. But then I first started playing a team in first grade, which was rec basketball.
Okay. That's kind of basketball. Right? Was that 5, maybe 5-ish, 4-ish, 5-ish?
Yeah.
That's you started young, because usually you hear soccer players 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
Basketball, usually I've been hearing 6, 7, maybe 8. So just when I talk to your brother, were you two very competitive when you started to get a little bit older?
Yeah, we were super competitive. And I would always try to beat up on him, but he was always way taller than me.
You have some height, so that's.
Yeah, my brother now is 6'6", but
okay.
So he was always taller than me because he was so much older. But now I try to beat up on him a little more.
Is he Is he supportive? Are you able to if you're down or something, you're feeling down, is somebody you could talk to?
Yeah, definitely. He's 22, 23 now. I think he's 23. But he's definitely there for me. And if I need to talk to about anything, he's always there. So
that's good. Now, any other sports you played before when you were growing up?
So I played soccer for a year, but I quit because I was the goalie, and I hated being the goalie because when we were so young that like no one could even get the ball to like the net. So
So
it
you
was
were
like
bored.
I was just standing there and I was like, this is terrible. Like, why would I ever play this? And then I played volleyball. I started in 6th grade and then I played all the way till sophomore year. But then after I tore my ACL, I stopped.
Okay.
And then I still do track and field. I'm a thrower.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. What is it about basketball that that was your sport? That was what you kind of followed growing up.
So that football and basketball is what my brother always did. So I always wanted to be like him. So I played flag football for like a year, but I didn't really like it. And then I did basketball because it was always like super like intense. Like there's never a moment that you're on the court and you're not doing like nothing. Like you're always in the game. There's always something to look at. There's always something to do. Even if you're on the bench, it's like super fun to watch. Like I just felt like it was, and I'm tall, so it's just an advantage at the beginning. So
I interviewed the Clark sisters, and they said that one of them said they gave up soccer because basketball you're always got to be paying attention. Where soccer, if your team's always attacking and you're playing defense, you could kind of get bored back there.
yeah.
So I could see that. What if your parents met in your development, growing up and with basketball?
So my dad was my first rec basketball coach, so he was always really supportive. He would actually bench me a lot when I played for him because he didn't want the parents to think he was playing me like
Favoritism?
over. Yeah. And I would like talk back to him because it's my dad, and he'd be like, okay, you're sitting the bench. Like he always taught me like not to talk back to coaches, always say thank you, like all this stuff. And he was just there for like the little things. Like after every game they'd pick apart like one thing, like that one game that I did the worst, and the next game I wouldn't have to improve. And then if not, like I would like I don't know what would happen. I never got there, but I was scared of it, I'll tell you that much.
That's funny you said that because my sister, when my dad coached my sister in soccer, she got sent to the car many times for talking back at practice and stuff. So
Yes.
that's pretty funny. Who was the first AAU program you played for?
The Short Shots.
Sure. And who was your coach there?
My first coach there was Mr. Williams, Coach D.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that Shane Eldridge and Emily were on that team?
Yes.
Because I remember Emily. I think Emily.
And Eli too. When
Okay.
she came from 7th grade,
Mhm.
she came on our team. Yeah.
Who is your current AAU program?
Short Shots.
Oh, you're still at Shoreshore. Okay.
Yeah, I played
Who's,
all years
who's
there.
who's your coach now?
Mary Beth Chambers and Lauren Bowler.
I know Mary Beth. Right? How has Coach Chambers and Coach Bowler improved your game, or made you a better basketball player?
Yeah, I think in general, AAU had taught me like that there's always people that are better than you. Like you're not always gonna be like the best player on the court. And with rec, travel, and like school basketball, like I was always one of the best players because of just being tall. But once you get to the AAU, you meet other girls that are like the same height, and you face opponents that are even probably better than us. So I think just working hard and realizing that you're not the best player, like it's like makes you work harder. And then practices with Mary Beth and Lauren were super hard, like super, you got to work for your spot and all that stuff. So they pushed me to be a better player.
Good. Now, entering high school, COVID year. How did you, it was, tough adjustment. First, let's go back to your 8th grade. COVID hit the end of the year. How did you find that adjustment to where you're in the classroom? You've been in the classroom since day one, entering grammar school or middle school, and now all of a sudden you're home. I don't know how middle school worked, if you had Zoom classes or stuff. How did you find that adjustment from being in the classroom every day to not being in the classroom?
I struggled a little. Well, like the first week I was like, all right, like we'll go back in like 2 weeks, like all this stuff. I was like, oh, I could do this for 2 weeks, whatever. And then like we got closer to the end of the year and I'm like, we still haven't gone back, and like we're not going back. Like it's not like I didn't know what's gonna happen. And I was like a little nervous because I was like I'm a really good student and I would keep on top of my stuff. But I felt like I had so much more time because I'd get everything done in the morning and then I would have nothing to do. And I'm like, I'm not allowed to go anywhere. So I was like, what do I do with my life? And so like I just played basketball all the time. But it was like I didn't know what else to do.
Now, entering your freshman year, were you in school to start the year, or because I know some school it was so weird that
We
so,
were half in school and half out of school. We had A and B days.
did you find that tough as a freshman? I mean, you went to public high school, so you knew a lot of kids from middle school, I'm guessing
Yeah.
there. But did you find it tough, as a freshman being there sometimes and not, to get acclimated as a freshman?
It was brutal. I mean, a lot of my friends, it was based off the alphabet, and a lot of my friends were in the beginning of the alphabet. So I actually had to make like a lot of new friends, and I felt like I was going to like a brand new school. Like, even though I knew all these kids, I was never got close to them. So it was like I had like 5 close friends, and they were all in the other day. And I was like, all right, now what do I do? Like, who do I talk to? So I started with like the basketball girls, and then I like started to make new friends, and now I still have these friends. So it was good and bad.
That leads me to my next question. Your freshman year, any upperclassmen that you were able to for basketball, because you could be nervous as a freshman, going to tryouts or practice for the first time. Any upperclassmen that kind of helped you or that you were able to go to if you had questions or something?
Yeah, so our high school held summer camps every year. So from 2nd grade to 7th grade, I went to like summer camps with like Thomas Bucci and all the upperclassmen. So going into my freshman year, I knew a couple girls from the summer camps, especially like the juniors and seniors from like when I was in 7th grade. So I would say Sarah Lally, Sam Fringo, and Molly Siliberto were all always there for me. And even like in the off season, like before we like lifted, and they were always there. And if I had any questions, I could always go up and ask them. So they were always there for me.
That's good. It probably makes it a little easier and a little less nervous.
It was very scary. My freshman year, I played 1 quarter of JV, and I scored like 25 points. And they were like, "Yeah, you can't play here." And so my first varsity game, I was very nervous, but
it happens. It happened for freshman year. What goals did you set for yourself your freshman year, that you wanted to achieve throughout your high school career?
So my coaches, Tom Bucci and Victoria Caiazzo, always set goals with me before the games. So as a freshman, like I didn't really know how best, like I was not the best player, but they'd push me to do like these rebounds and points that I would probably never achieve. But it would make me think that they had so much confidence in me that it would push me to get at least close to those numbers. But it was definitely brutal. I don't think I personally set any goals for myself because it was COVID and I didn't know like I only played 8 games, I think, or 10 games or something. But
that was actually going to be my next question. How frustrating was it? Because sometimes teams were on their bus getting ready to go to a game, and then they'll get a phone call that the other team somebody came in contact. How frustrating was it as a freshman? Not being able to get into that mindset, knowing that or focus for a game because not knowing it might be canceled. Some
yeah.
players said that they just took every game for fun because you never knew when it was going to be their last game. Did you kind of have a similar mindset?
Yeah, I would say I struggled because I actually got COVID and then I never got tested, but I got an antibody test and they wouldn't let me come back even though I tested positive for antibodies. So my parents got in like a full fight with like the whole like district and I was like they were trying to get me back, but I couldn't. So I was out for 14 weeks of my freshman year basketball. Because I had it during the season and then I got close contacted. But they wouldn't like let me come back even though I had the test that's saying I could. But
that was like Gia Passat.
Yeah.
She barely played and she didn't even catch it. She just kept coming in near contact with it. And she was testing, and if I remember correctly, she was testing negative, and she missed almost that whole season.
Yeah.
I'm pulling up last season. So let's talk. We'll talk your injury first. Actually, when did you injure your ACL?
So I tore my ACL the spring of my sophomore year, April 30th.
Was it in AAU?
It was in our second AAU tournament, and I was doing probably my best. Like that was like one of the my best basketball plays of like the season. There was 0.8 seconds left in the clock. I had to touch the ball, or it wouldn't have gone well. But I got shoved in the back, and I tore my ACL, MCL, and meniscus.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So how, once you go to the doctor, he tells you the news that, it is your ACL. Most players kind of know it these days when it happens.
Yeah. So when I first went to the doctor, I was like, it can't be. Like, there's just no way. And I like couldn't walk. I was like, it was a tournament. So the first day I tore my ACL. The second day I was like, can I just play? But like I couldn't walk. I just wanted to play. And I was like, what if this is like my last game? Like I just want to play. And they wouldn't let me play. But when I went to the doctor, I was like, it just can't be my ACL. Like it could be anything else. Like it can't be. And then 2 days later, we got the phone call, and I was driving to school with my dad, and they called, and I heard I heard it on the phone. They say it, and like I was like, I just can't cry right now. Like I'm going to school. I'm gonna go to school. Like I gotta go back. Like all this stuff, and I was like holding back tears, and I was like, it's just not. It's whatever. It was meant to be. Whatever it happened. So,
how. Where did you go for physical therapy?
Riptide and Barnegat.
Okay. How did that go? Because I know when I interviewed Riley Rampone, she said her first ACL injury, it took her longer to get back, but she felt it was more because it mentally affected her so much. But then the second one, she came back really fast, and she said just because she just didn't let it bother her, and she just went like right to work, trying to get better. How do you think your physical therapy went?
So before I had surgery, I had to have a month of physical therapy before.
Oh, okay.
Which I think was probably what helped me the most, because once I got out of surgery, getting like my muscles around my knee back wasn't as hard. So it made like my knee also stronger because it was like less risk of an injury again because of how strong all my muscles were.
Who suggested that? Because that's the first time I heard that, but I don't know if it happened to other players if that's how they did it. But who suggested that?
So my surgeon recommended it, or he suggested it, and my parents were like, whatever will get her back like first or whatever. And so he was like, well, if we do it this way, I can't get it was either 3 weeks until I got my surgery or 4 weeks with the physical therapy. So my parents were like, just do the 4 weeks, get her the physical therapy. And so I did a month of physical therapy before, and then after my surgery, I went straight back.
That's pretty good, actually. And especially, doctors can't tell how you're going to recover too. So it's not like you can say, oh, you'll be back. If you do surgery now, you'll be back here. So that's interesting. I'm actually going to bring that up to people. I know that because I'm sure in the next few years, I'll know quite a few players that get AC.
Yeah. And I actually got back to playing in 7 months after my surgery.
7 months. That's really good, because usually it's 9.
They were saying 9 to 13, and I got back.
That's usually at 9 to 12. How did it feel when you were able to, get back on that court last season?
So I got to play a quarter of JV, and that was probably the best experience of my life, because I played with like the 5 seniors I played rec basketball with, like the seniors now and me, and then we all played rec basketball since forever. So it was probably like the best feeling ever. Like all the girls were like hyping me up. Like it was like only my second quarter I ever played JV. I was like, this is great. Like, but then for varsity, I didn't really play that much because my coach was like, well, I don't want to risk like her getting hurt before AAU, because there was only like 6 games left. So they were like, I don't want to risk her getting hurt. So.
And That's very, Coach Sweeney, I guess, said
Yeah.
that, and that's good because he knows, AAU is where college coaches are, and
Yeah.
so that's a very unselfish coach right there too, doing
Right.
that. Now, let's talk this season. We briefly talked about before the season start. What was the message Coach gave the team for the season? What did he tell you girls before the season started?
So he was basically saying like how the energy on the bench, which it's been great, it's been working, has to relate to energy on the court. And even when those second stringers come back in, we have to have the same energy and just like supporting each other no matter what. And just like working together, passing the ball, just everything together. Our defense has been really good recently, so that helps us a lot.
What you being a senior leader, what is something you hope you pass down to the underclassmen?
So I try to pass down like respect to all perspectives of the court. So refs, coaches, other players, teammates, everything. Even like little mistakes. Like everyone's gonna make little mistakes. We're all human. It's whatever. So we can't get mad at someone if they miss a call or if the coach misses the wrong play, or we just have to take the blame on ourselves and just be like, play the next game. Like play the next play. Just that 1 second is not gonna ruin the entire season. Like just keep pushing forward, find positivity in everything, and just that's basically it.
Just last question about this season. Just talk, chemistry with, you and Casey. Casey, very good card. It seems like not many teams have that combo where, really good guard that can handle the ball, get to the hoop, shoot outside, and then a center that, you could kind of draw the defense out too a little bit, and, you're dominant underneath. Just talk your relationship with Casey.
Me and Casey are pretty close. I think that having me back helps her and me also, because if we get it inside and people crash, I pop it right back out and she shoots and scores or finds the basket, whatever it is. If I screen and my girl's double, she passes it to me, easy layup. Like it's just like little things that we do. We just read each other's minds. We read each other's minds sometimes. It feels like we're always on the same page.
How big is it when, Casey and you, obviously, you two get the most attention, but how big is it when you two are being really focused on, you got Brielle and Samantha that hit big shots. I know I'm missing somebody else.
Lindsay.
Yeah. Now, how big is it when they're contributing and they're hitting their shots, and, how dangerous can Southern be if, when everybody's clicking?
It's huge. Like our chemistry is really good this year, and I think us sharing the ball gives everyone an opportunity. Even when some of our second stringers come on, when they score, it's just we're all working together. We're all fighting for rebounds to give other people opportunities to get it back up, just to finish every possession.
All right, you ready for a quick round robin?
I'm ready.
All right. All right, what's your favorite TV show?
Gilmore Girls.
Wow. I think you might be the first one to say that out of everybody interviewed. How about favorite movie?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'll say Halloween.
Halloween. So you like scary movies?
Definitely.
Not me. What is your favorite school subject?
So when I was younger, math, and this year math, but there was definitely some teachers in there that threw that off. But AP Calc, it's hard, but it's going good. We're good.
Do you have a favorite teacher?
So my AP Calc teacher is really good.
Okay.
Mr. South, shout out.
Okay. What's your favorite food?
Pizza. But I'm a little biased because my parents own a pizzeria. So
Okay. What is something you enjoy to do when you're not playing basketball?
Reading.
Okay. This is a question that Doug always asked when we did these podcasts together. Doug, that you called out on.
I did call him out a little bit.
What is your go-to song when you're getting ready to get in the zone for a big game?
Okay, so I'm a big country fan. So I wouldn't say I have like a hype song, but I definitely love to listen to Zach Bryan and Morgan Wallen before game.
Okay.
And that might throw some people off, but
Last question for this. When you're done with college, basketball career is over, do you still want to be involved with the sport somehow?
yes. So when I tore my ACL, I started coaching. I coached a girls 5-6 team for rec, and they were not the best players, but we worked through it, and we actually had a pretty good record. I think we only lost one game. And then this year, I coach a 7-8 boys team, and they're crazy. They run me out of my mind. I don't know how I do it, but we are undefeated right now. So
Do you there's a college soccer player, and unfortunately she tore ACL for her second time and missed majority of this season. I asked your dad, and just the coach just asked her opinion on a game, and she gave her opinion, and now coaching might be in the future because the coach really liked what she said. She really enjoyed analyzing the game and stuff. So it happens when players get hurt, they find something that they might be able to do in the future. So
yeah, it was a good opportunity to see a different perspective, like of the court. I've been reffing since like 7th grade, and then now coaching too. I've played like all sides of the court, and it's like crazy to see how different like your respect is for everyone. Because again, everyone makes mistakes, everyone calls the wrong plays, everyone misses a call. It's whatever, but we just got to move on from that.
So you have a different respect for the refs than most other people.
Definitely. Sometimes I get a little mad, but we don't like to talk about that.
There was one call in your Barnegat game. And,
that was a brutal game for me.
And Emma Thornton dribbled the ball past midcourt. She was probably at the volleyball line, which is midway between midcourt and 3-point line. She turned and passed it back to Riley, who was not even over midcourt. Riley jumped because she knew she wasn't over.
Didn't land yet.
Yes. And, coach said, hey, back court. And listen, if the lady would have said, oh, Riley was over the line, no, she wasn't, but at least it would have been arguable a little bit.
Yeah.
He said Emma wasn't over the line yet when she passed it. That was her thing. So, and Emma was clearly over the line. Like I said, if she would have said Riley got over the line, yeah, maybe not, but it really didn't have much of an argument because it was close. But Emma Thornton was clearly over the line when she passed the ball. So.
Yeah, that was one of the possessions I was like, all right, well, I knew that was a missed call, but I'm just going to keep playing. Like, it's whatever.
It's tough, and there's shortage of refs, and the fans. Me, I'm neutral, and I get on the refs. I probably, and I don't care who wins the game.
Yeah, I'm usually the speaking captain, so I always talk up the refs a little bit.
Okay, all right. Let's talk your future. You're looking at colleges. What are some things that you're looking at when you're going on, visiting campuses? Things that are attracting you to schools.
So, a lot of people hype up big schools, but I don't know if I want like a really big school. That's very scary. And like I'm always like I'm a really academic person. So like those big schools where like you don't have a relationship with your professors, that scares me a lot. So I want a smaller school, but it doesn't have to be like super small.
Okay.
And I don't want to be too far away from home, but I also don't want to be in the backyard.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. So somewhere East Coast, but not New Jersey.
Maybe. Yeah.
Do you
know what? If I got an offer, I wouldn't reject it. So.
Do you know what your major? What you want to study?
Yeah, so I'm going to study early childhood education with a minor in special education.
Okay, so you want to be. Next question would be: you want to be a teacher then? When you.
Yes.
Okay. All right, excellent. All right, last question, then I'm going to let you go. What advice would you give your younger self?
So I always thought about this forever, and I was like, well, you can't really change the past. So like my advice wouldn't really help. But then I was looking, so I have like really young cousins, like 4 and 6. And so I was looking at them and I'm like, you know what's advice that I would give them? Like me at that age, if I just give it to them, I would be giving it to myself too. So I was like, never take anything for granted. Like when you're younger, you always want to grow up and you always want to be like your older people in your life, and you always want to like show that you could do whatever they could do. And you're always like, oh, well, I want to be an adult so I can do whatever I want. But then once you're here, you just want to be little again, and you do not want to grow up anymore.
Yep.
Like I always said I want to move out, all this stuff. I was like, I do not want to move out now. Like my parents were getting ready for taxes and I saw all those paperwork. I was like, I do not want to be an adult. I do not want to move out.
That's a great answer. And yes, as you get older, you want to go back to being a kid.
Yeah, and just cherishing every moment. So
a lot of players started saying that, especially after COVID, just appreciate what you have.
Yeah, you never know what'll happen, and God has a plan for you, but you never know it till it happens. So
all right, Skylar, thank you for joining me. You girls have a big game on Saturday, don't you?
Rainy, yes. So, I'm a little nervous for that one, but
that's you and Ashley will be doing battle.
Definitely.
So she's a pretty good rebounder. So, but good luck the rest of the season to you and the team.
Thank you.
I'll definitely be at the Jackson Memorial game because that will probably determine A South.
Yes.
So,
and I have one more thing to say.
Yes.
A big shout out to my trainers for when I was injured, Tom Bucci and Joe Mercurio.
Excellent.
Yes.
And where are they located again?
Jersey Elite Training on Route 9.
Okay. There you go. Anybody that needs to recover from ACL surgery, I'm sure they do other things too. But
especially if you're sports related.
Excellent.
Definitely great trainers for everything.
All right, Skylar, thank you. And everybody, try to stay warm. I think there's another snowstorm coming in Friday.
Yes. Pray for a 2-hour delay. We'll see.
Okay, 2-hour delay.
For everyone.
For everyone. All right. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.